Good morning and welcome to Community Chit Chat here right on KMBY over the air at 19.4 and on the internet at KMBYTV.com. Now we're going to wait a little bit until the music kind of goes down a little bit. I'm Jim Vossen, V as in Victor, O-S-S-E-N, in case anybody cares. And so it kind of, there we go, it drops down and then we pause it and then we have, after that, we have the music, we call it music to break. And then we do a break, and then we have a return music, and we do the same thing all over. I know this is really exciting for everybody wanting to learn how to do that. Okay, so we can take out the titling. We're going to reintroduce a guest of mine who was on here a few weeks ago. He was on to come on to tell of an incident of his. An incident that happened. Well, we're going to talk all about it. It turns out he's a vet, and he has a problem with a foot of his, and one of his feet. How do you say it? Something like that. Anyway, and he had to go up to Palo Alto to the, I guess it's the vet clinic. We'll find out exactly what that is. And he was lucky enough to start off by taking a bus from the the Veterans Transition Center in Marina up to there. It's the getting back. It's the fun part we're going to talk about. We were going to do that a few weeks ago, but instead we started talking all about his career in broadcasting, how he got into that, and so on. So Michael Martins used to be, let's bring him in now by doing this. There you are, and I'm over next to you. You can't see me there. You can see me over there, but that's okay. Anyway, Michael Martins, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jim. It's great to be here.
Great to be back, huh?
Yes, again, yes.
You're like I don't get too many of those.
Repeat.
Repeat, yeah.
Repeat offender.
That reminds me, yeah. Yeah. In fact, there were these, did you ever hear a story about the two guys on a rowboat?
No.
Yeah, there were two guys on a rowboat. One's name was Pete, and the other one was Repeat. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
So anyway, Pete fell overboard. Who did that leave on the boat?
The repeat.
Well, you don't say the repeat. Just say repeat.
Repeat, yes.
Well, there were these two guys on the... No, okay. Anyway. Don't ask. I don't know where I got that from. Somewhere. So, Michael, it's great to have you back here. And we're gonna get into this thing. So let's start off. We'll give a little brief history. You are a vet,
right? U.S. Army veteran.
U.S. veteran. Not a veterinarian.
That's right. That's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah,
I like animals too, but
yeah.
I'm
well,
not gonna...
veterinarian. That's kind of my pet peeve. But all right, forget that. Anyway, so you're a veteran. You were in the Army from what year to what year?
I joined in 1979, in I think it was October, and I just served 3 years. Actually, 6. You do 3 years active and then 3 years in inactive reserve back then. Reserve. I imagine it's changed now.
Did you when you do that, when you're in that inactive reserve, is that what it's called, or active?
Yeah, in other words, you don't have to go and do the weekend drill like National Guard, like regular reserves.
Okay.
But like if I would have been Desert Storm, when Desert Storm happened, they recalled people, and I would have been one of those. Except
if they were shorthanded, they'd call you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. Okay. They can call you.
Good. All right. So
country needs you.
You were there for 3 years, and 3 years active reserve type of thing. All right.
Yeah.
So that allows you kind of certain things. There are some good things about being in the service.
That's right.
And that is, once you're out, you can take advantage of some things. For instance, you have, is it lifelong health care?
Yeah. Once you're a veteran forever.
Yes.
Now, actual services available to you vary.
Okay.
Like veterans who've been in World War II, for example, get certain things. Veterans who, like me, I was post-Vietnam, so I didn't have any combat experiences. I did do bomb squad, so there was
bomb squad.
Yeah, because it's like being in the fire department. There was risk involved in your daily job, but yeah. So
it's the bomb squad. I understand that's a booming occupation,
especially now.
Stop it, Jim. Stop it. Yeah, it's a gift and a curse. All right.
Yes.
So anyway, all right, but benefits. So let me just go with health things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a big boo boo on your arm or something like that, you can go to the clinic. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And-
In Palo Alto,
Yes.
there's the Veterans Administration's hospital. It's a large hospital up there. In fact, I think it's even bigger than our hospital here at Chomp. It's a very large complex, and it's like a college campus.
and it's all for all military people, Navy,
That's right.
whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right. All military veterans and active duty people as well, I believe.
So we'll go back a little bit. You have had a problem with your foot related to diabetes. Can I say that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, because if I can't, I'd have to retract that. We'd have to stop the tape, back up. And
No,
go-
I'm as you know me personally, I'm not the kind of person that likes to talk about my personal
I had to-
ailments,
I
but
had
because we're on TV, yeah.
Well, I didn't want to say the diabetes thing, okay? But
No, you're welcome to.
But because the injury, the foot, I think is related to that.
Absolutely, and
that's why-
people need to be aware.
Yes,
I'm willing
yeah.
to sacrifice a little bit, just a wee bit,
Yeah.
by privacy
Yeah.
issues because type 2 diabetes, which is what is
right.
a problem. In fact, I didn't even know I was diabetic for years.
Right.
So and a lot of people don't know.
You know, I'm the same way. I have diabetes type 2. I have it all under control.
Yep,
you
I'm
know,
pretty
but
same
you have,
here.
You have to be careful with things, right? Something happened with your foot, and you ended up having can I say toe amputated?
Yes, I had to have surgery. Actually, I've had two over
Okay.
the last 3 years.
Okay.
But yes, and it's called the doctors call it neuropathy, which
Neuropathy.
basically when you have blood sugar problems, like I did for years, it can damage the small veins in certain parts of your body, particularly your eyes are
Right.
and then your feet. And I guess because there's a lot of small veins in like your fingers and your feet.
Yeah.
That sometimes, and that's what I have. It's called the neuropathy, which makes a kind of it's sort of like when you're been outside in the cold. When I was a kid and you're playing out in the
Yeah.
winter, you get numb, so you kind of have this numbness, and it can cause problems because you bang your foot and you don't feel it. Like you could I could step on a nail or a tack and not be aware of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know that's actually when I first how I found out I had diabetes was interesting, and that was let's see how do I go about doing that? I had to have one of the things was I know. I went to get a driver's license one time, and I got the license, but the guy said I barely passed the eye test. And so I went to an eye doctor, Dr. Friedman, who's a local guy here and quite popular.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that I had a cataract. And I said, no, I have an Oldsmobile. And he...
Yeah.
So anyway, no, I had a cataract, and he could do something about it. But before I could do that, he wanted me. I need to have a physical examination to make sure I was okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to see another Dr. Franklin, not Tel Franklin. That's another doctor entirely, but this other Franklin. Went and saw him, and I guess we did a blood test or something. And then he called me in. And I didn't like the way he described me. He said that I have uncontrollable diabetes. And I didn't like that. What kind of way? Well, cork, pop my cork, I'm dead.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Anyway, I didn't. But anyway, so that got me into getting treatment for that. I had the cataract surgery and everything. In fact, I've had 2 cataracts, both eyes, okay? And I thought it would have been neat if I had a cataract in one eye and a Pontiac in the other eye. But anyway, okay, stop it. So that's how I found out I had it. Okay, that there's that magic number 6. That when in the level your blood
Yes,
levels.
yep,
Yeah. Okay.
mhm. Yeah,
And I was like at a
ALC or something
yeah,
like that.
I was like at between 7 and 8, somewhere in there. All right.
Yep.
So I've got it down to where I'm okay, but I take medicine for it. And my Dr. Basiri, real nice lady, Persian lady, cute as a button. And
Oh, that's always
she
nice.
does this little giggle laugh, Yeah. And so anyway, I take this medicine, but she said if I was to lose maybe 20 pounds, I could probably drop one of the pills. So I got
That helps.
I got
That's
to
true.
work on that. Keep on try. I think about it and say I'm going to start today.
Yep.
Then it goes off. So anyway, so you had something. Which foot, by the way, was your problem?
My left foot. Mhm.
Your left foot. Okay.
This time I had issues with both feet, but yeah.
Oh.
But this time it was the left foot.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had basically, because of the neuropathy, I had, I guess, hurt my foot moving stuff, and my toe, my big toe this time. And when I went to the doctor to have it checked out, the local clinic here, there's a VA clinic in Marina, and they looked at it, and they wanted to do an X-ray, and they could see that there was an infection. And they gave me medicine for the infection, but when the X-ray came back, it showed that I had the infection had gotten to the bone, and that's when it's bad. Because once it's in the bone doesn't have the circulation like your other parts of your body does, and so it's hard for, especially pills and prescriptions.
Let's hope nobody is eating breakfast right now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I get what's called a sympathy pain. And it's kind of basically around where I'm sitting right now. And
Right.
And it makes my,
I know. I'm the same way. I call it empathy. Yeah, you kind of feel
I do. I get,
empathically feel the thing when you're watching it on TV or in a movie or something.
Yeah, like somebody cuts off somebody's wrist.
Yeah,
it's
or an
phony,
accident.
but it's not really doing it. But
Exactly.
in the movies, but
That's
it
right.
does that to me. All right, so you've had a couple of well, let's see. First of all, you had a toe removed. Is that correct?
Yes, the toe
On the
that's
left
next
foot?
to the second one to the right next to the big toe
Right.
was removed about a year ago at Chomp because that toe I had stubbed the
Okay. Ugh.
toenail
Yeah.
and then it like I
Oh.
said, it got infected relatively quick. So that's why diabetes is such a concern. Just a little like I said, I just stubbed my toe.
Did we know?
And
I
that
wonder
got
if
infected.
Did we know about that? Say, 150 years ago. Did we know about,
diabetes has been around for
but
probably.
I'm just saying, did we know?
I'm sure not as much as we know now.
Yeah.
Definitely,
I just,
we've learned a lot. But diabetes has been in fact, they had a different name for it back then. I was watching. There's an old TV show called The Nick, which is Clive Owen's a movie. Actually, I think is what it is, and it was about 18th century. It's like a hospital in New York City in the 18th century, and
that would be the 1700s.
yes,
Some
exactly.
people-
Some
some people don't know how to
early
do
New
that.
York,
Yeah, okay.
It was like, and apparently the Nick was like one of the big hospitals. It was a nickname for a hospital in New York that was sort of
It was
a medical
was
center
called
of
the
the
Nick,
day.
and it was a
They
Nick-
called the
Nick-
show was called the Nick.
And
The
it was a
nickname
nickname
for the hospital. The hospital had a large. I forgot the name of the
I've seen it.
hospital, but they mentioned it a few times.
I was just working on that. Nick was the nickname.
Yeah, the Nick. They called it the Nick.
Yeah.
It was a weird, like Chomp,
Yeah, Chomp.
It's,
I got it, I got it.
Community Hospital of Monterey Peninsula. Everybody just calls it Chomp, or Miss.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, where am I at? Okay. So anyway, so you had one toe gone.
Yes, so I had that toe probably a year and a half now, and then so
You didn't get to save it, did you?
yeah, no,
You don't have it in a jar at home or anything? On a,
nope,
on a mantle?
it disappeared.
It disappeared. Did you ask if you could have it or what?
No. And believe me, it didn't look like it was in good condition at the time.
Okay.
Otherwise, I probably would have.
By the way, I may be standing up any moment. just to let you know. Oh, boy.
You asked the question. I'll
sure
answer
did.
that.
I sure did. I sure shouldn't have, but I did. Okay. All right. Now, did you have a second toe removed?
Yes, that's what. This was the big toe, my left
the
foot's
big
big toe. And what had happened is I actually had to go a couple of times because they sent me to Palo Alto back in, I think, February, end of January, somewhere in February. And for an MRI, because the local Marina VA clinic which is a nice one. They built a new one, and it's a really nice place. But it's just what they call a day clinic where you come and go for doctor's appointments. But so they didn't have an MRI there, and so they sent me up to Palo Alto for an MRI.
Do you know what that stands for, by any chance?
Oh God, that's a good one. Resonance imagery, medical resonance imagery, or micro.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So MRI.
Many years ago, I had a brain scan done. They couldn't find anything.
Yeah, I could see that.
So do I say I had an MRI?
That explains a lot.
Yeah, that explains a lot. Yeah. Nope, we couldn't find anything, Jim.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, gee, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so MRI.
So he did the MRI, and that's when they could see that the infection was in the bone.
Again, of the big toe.
Yeah, and so I had to come back, so they scheduled the surgery. And
that's in Palo Alto.
Yes, and the way they do it is if it's an emergency, because you're a veteran, you're entitled to, well, in my category of veteran, I'm entitled to go to the VA mostly for free. Sometimes there's a little like copay, but they're insignificant. But mostly it's free, and you get to go at the VA. Now, if it's an emergency and your doctor or the doctor, the ER, because I had to go to Chomp once for an emergency. And what they'll do is the ER doctor will contact the VA, and then the VA will authorize, because of an emergency, that, you couldn't wait to drive all the way to Palo Alto, so you then are cleared to go to whatever hospitals in your area. In my case, of course, being Chomp, is because of Monterey. And so I did go there. But if you have time, they want you to go to, the scheduled place if it's not an actual emergency. Right. And that's why I ended up going up to Palo Alto, which is about 2.5, 3 hours, depending on traffic, I think.
We're going to get into that in a moment. I think what we'll do is we'll take a small break right about now, a couple of minutes early from my schedule, if I have a schedule. And I'm looking around to make sure everything's working. Looks like everything's working. So we'll get you out of the picture for a minute. This is Community Chit Chat on KMBY over there at 19.4. Excuse me. And on the internet at KMBYTV.com. I'm Jim Vossen, V as in Victor, O-S-S-E-N. My special guest today, Michael Martins, who I didn't put titling up while we were talking to him. Hopefully I'll remember that. Michael, if you don't see titling with your name on, you tell me. Maybe you could... Well, we got some cables in the way, but that's a story. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to bring in this like so. We're going to fade this to black like so.
KMBY Monterey. Jose's Mexican Restaurant and Grill. Come and treat yourself to a refreshing margarita. Experience the warm, delicious taste of Mexico. They use only the finest ingredients and so affordable that you can bring the whole family. Jose's Mexican Restaurant, a family favorite in Seaside on Del Monte and Broadway. Local and family owned. Come and let the Maldonado family serve you.
Hi, Jim Vossen here for the Delray Oaks Chamber of Commerce. If you have never been to Delray Oaks before, it is well worth coming by. About 20 years ago, a young gentleman took on the task of counting all the trees in Delray Oaks. He's still counting them today. There's a great and famous restaurant in Delray Oaks called Tarpey's. And of course, they have a Starbucks and a Jack in the Box and a large Safeway. There is also a special place where people come from miles around to look at a large frog population. salvation. If you need your spirits lifted, there is the beautiful Church of the Oaks. Check out their website, churchoftheoaks.com. And if you're in the neighborhood, stop by and say hi to my good friend, Reverend Dr. Robert Helen. To find out more about Delray Oaks, check out DelrayOaksCalifornia.com. That's DelrayOaksCalifornia.com. Brought to you by the Delray Oaks Chamber of Commerce. To join the chamber, call 394-6501. All right. There we go. Kind of got that. We're back. This is Community Chit Chat, and I'm going to pause that like so. It looks like down. And we're going to bring Michael back into the picture here. So, Michael, and don't forget to put in, there we go, titling for you, right?
There you go.
Television
correctly
produced.
spelled, everybody.
Correctly
so
spelled.
don't call and tell them they misspelled my
I was going to
name.
spell it backwards. I just thought I'd,
That is the correct spelling.
All right. So we're talking to Michael about his. He was in the Army for 3 years and 3 years active reserve. He and somewhere I don't know how long ago was it that you discovered this about your diabetes?
Actually, that was probably around 1999, around 2000.
Oh, okay.
But the doctors believe, because same thing happened to you. I went to an eye doctor, and they noticed there was issues. And, of course, I have my family, my mother had glaucoma and stuff, and so that's what do they call it? A hereditary. It increases your potential if your parents had that or your grandparents, that you are more, it increases your odds of you getting it. And so, at least that's what the medical people were saying. And so, I had to, have my eyes checked, a little more than, I think they're supposed to have your eyes checked every year, but I think I did it every 6 months or something. Anyways, so so I was getting my eye checked, and they do the labs, and that's when they, what is it called? The A1C, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's when they could see that my A1C numbers were high. I think it was 7 something,
Okay.
which is pretty high.
Yeah. And my understanding, correct me wrong. So you had it probably longer than you
Yes.
wished you had.
Yes. And of course, just for the record, because I don't look it now, at the time I was almost 300 pounds.
Oh.
I believe I was 285.
Oh, wow.
At that time, roughly. And so that helps a lot.
And how tall are you?
Only 6 feet tall, so
Well,
that's pretty
still,
obese.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. I felt like I felt like a walrus. Luckily, my girlfriend liked big guys so, at the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she probably would have kicked me to the curb.
She's not your girlfriend anymore, though.
No,
right?
she lives in
There
Austin.
we go. Think
Yeah.
about that, okay? Think about it.
Good point.
Yeah. Easy come, easy go.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so here's the deal. So on this last situation, you had your second toe, or your big toe, you might say, amputated. And roughly when was this, if I may?
This was, let's see, that would be, I think it was the beginning of March.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Now you went
May,
up,
March.
Did you drive up to Palo Alto for that?
No, because they generally don't like you to do that. So
Oh.
when you have surgery, so that's why I thought, well, they have a VA shuttle, and
Yes.
I've used it before, which takes you from the Marina Clinic,
Right.
and it's a free bus, and it'll drive you all the way up to the Palo Alto Hospital.
Okay. And at that time, now for this removing of the toe, was this something you stayed overnight?
Oh yeah, I had to stay there for about a week.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
they wanted to watch it. When you're it's a,
yeah.
if I was just like a average,
Yeah.
non-diabetic, I probably would have been in and out of there in a couple of days. But they wanted to keep me there to monitor. Apparently, when they do what they call an IV antibiotics, that's
Yeah.
better than taking the pills.
Oh, okay.
It's stronger. At least that's what they were saying. So they wanted to keep me on
Now,
an IV for about a week.
Did you notice that you were missing the big toe? I mean,
Yeah.
did you try to wiggle it and nothing was
Oh
wiggling?
yeah, you do have that sort of weird sensation, which I was told before, that sometimes you have sensations. Of course, because of neuropathy, I lost some of that sensation before the So it wasn't that big of a,
Did you when you went to look at your foot? Did you scream?
Yeah, no. No, I sucked it up. And
did anybody else look at your foot and scream?
yeah.
Like a nurse. Ah!
And they had it wrapped up. In fact, because I had to keep it because the stitches were right.
Okay, now here's
yeah.
Hello.
So they had to. And in fact, I had to. I had to stay in bed for over a month, about 6 weeks, where I was pretty much. They didn't want me to do nothing, so get up to go to the bathroom or something. That was about it. I mean, and so I was hobbling and for a long time.
Yeah. Now, what year was this?
Yeah.
What year? When was this?
This was this.
That's in March.
Yeah, beginning of 2020.
Right.
Yeah, so it was just the beginning of the spring.
Yeah, and now you've since by the way, going back to when you were 300 pounds, you've lost some weight.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm right. I'm trying to. My perfect target goal, and it's just an even figure. I would like to be down to 200 even pounds, but I'm currently about 220.
Okay.
So I've got about 20 more pounds, and I'd be happy.
All right. Good. All right. So anyway, now, by the way, while you were in the hospital for a week there, did they have any nice nurses?
Oh yes, yes, I was lucky.
Oh, they did.
Yes.
Oh.
There was at least 2 or 3 that were real and friendly too.
I know. You don't have to answer this, but. All of a sudden comes to my mind sponge bath, but I don't know how that works. You weren't that.
No, I didn't. Unfortunately,
weren't that mad of invalid,
they didn't.
Huh?
I didn't earn a sponge bath.
No.
Would have been nice.
Okay, so you're there in the hospital for about a week, and then you came home via the bus, like you went down there in. Is that correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and your car was in the parking lot of the Veterans Administration?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So you were able to get in and drive okay?
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and sometimes I'll get my brother-in-law or some friend to meet me, or I've done that before too.
All right. So. Okay. So you did that. And then since you had that was in March, you say.
Mm-hmm.
You had some complications still? Or you've had some?
Yeah, so we'll have to roll back to, so I was in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Now the shuttle to come back to Palo Alto, and I believe it was actually after the surgery. Sorry. So yeah, it was after the surgery, and I'd been there for about a week recovering.
Right.
And then I was to take the shuttle back to Marina because my car was still at the Marina clinic.
Right.
And so the shuttle normally would go until I think the last one leaving Palo Alto was 3:30.
Well, now wait a minute. I'm getting lost a little bit because this isn't the start of that incident that we're going to talk.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I didn't know it was that far back. I thought it was recently.
Well, it was. Let me see. No, I mean, it was. It was a while ago. It was.
Okay.
March. Yeah, I know. Time flies. I guess we're both old.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
So you're in the hospital for 5 days. You had your big toe removed.
Yep.
Because it felt lonely because it was missing its partner next door.
Exactly.
So you had 2 toes, and you're down to 3 toes now, right?
Mm-hmm.
On that foot.
Yep.
Yeah. Did they ever think about taking one of your toes from your right foot and moving it over to the left foot so that you were even? You had 4 and 4.
Yeah. No. Well, the problem with the VA is that they're good, but they because they're a bureaucracy, it takes them anytime a new process like something like where somebody was doing something like that they in fact so it takes them a while to adopt. And that's one of the disadvantages. That they it has to come down from the federal government to approve, and it takes a few years.
We lost a little bit on somewhere.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
All right. So anyway, so you stayed there for the week, and your last day, you find out that you wanted to leave. But you had missed the shuttle coming back. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And so what had happened was I took the shuttle from the Marina clinic to the hospital.
Right.
And I assumed because I'd been there, I've done it before. Because I'd been to the hospital for other things in the past, and so I knew that there was shuttles to take me back. My appointment that I was there for was what kept me busy until after 2:00. And when I came down to the front of the hospital where you pick the shuttle from Monterey, the shuttle sign showed that the last shuttle was only till 2. And this was because they were starting to have issues with the pandemic at this point. And so the buses were having to compensate for what do they call it, social distancing and stuff. And so because of that,
the buses has to stay 6 feet away from the other bus in front of them.
Well, the people on the bus.
I got, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's okay.
Sorry, I got to play the straight man.
Yeah, it would help a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so anyway, so you come down, you're ready to get on that bus to come on home, and you discover, I missed the bus.
That's right.
Now, was there a thought, did you talk to anybody there about, can I stay overnight and catch tomorrow's bus?
Yeah, there is they have what they call a Warriors Lodge. Yeah. And you can do that. There is some, paperwork. It'd be very hard to do that in that situation. Normally you have to, pre-approve. You have to go to the VA.
You couldn't just sit on a chair and take a nap and go to sleep?
I probably could have done that, although I didn't. I didn't expect that there was going to be that big of an issue, because there is I knew that the Valley Transit Authority and the MST, Monterey Salinas Transit Authority, both have shuttles that go to Monterey, because I've traveled. Out of the San Jose airport, and I've traveled out of the San Francisco airport, and so I knew that there was, that there were transit systems that would take you to Monterey. So I just assumed that, because they, up there they call it the Valley Transit Authority, up north of Gilroy and to San Francisco. And so they have buses up there, and so I knew, and they also have what do they call it, the Caltrans.
Now let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
What time is it roughly about then that you realize that you don't have a bus?
So it was about 2:15, and the last bus left at 2:00.
Had left.
Yep.
Okay.
And so somebody told me about catching the Valley Transit bus. And then you have to take that down to downtown San Jose.
Now, you had just had a major operation on your surgery on your toe and such, and you're now wearing one regular shoe and something else?
I was wearing my foot was wrapped up. It wasn't in a hard cast.
One of your feet was in a regular shoe, no?
Yeah, my right foot was in a regular shoe, but my left foot was in one of those medical shoes, those little weird medical shoes they have.
Okay, all right. So,
and it was very big, too, because it had like a ton of gauze.
Probably not the easiest thing to walk around in?
Exactly, yep.
Okay.
And you don't want to walk far either. But, walking from the lobby to the bus, which literally stops right out in front of the lobby.
So let's do this. So you said, okay, I'm going to go try to somehow get a hold of a bus or two and end up somehow back home.
That's right.
Okay.
So the plan, the B plan was to get to the Gilroy Transit Center, which is MST, where MST has a shuttle that will take you all the way back to downtown Monterey.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'm close in downtown, so I could have a friend or somebody pick me up and give me a ride to my car or home if I wanted to. So.
Okay. So let's. How did you get to the first bus? Was that nearby?
Yep, it was. There was a bus stop right outside the main entrance to the hotel. The hospital in Palo Alto. It has a loop, and there's a bus. A little bus station right there, bus terminal. With a little shelter. And so I got on, and it's called a VTA, Valley Transit Authority, up there. And so I got on the Valley Transit Authority bus. Now, I already started to see problems because when the first bus showed up, the bus driver opens the door and he says, "The bus is full. You can't get on this bus."
The bus is full.
And of course, they only had like 8 to 12 people on it, and it was a huge bus. It was one of those double buses that has the
accordion.
The accordion, exactly.
Yeah,
it was a giant accordion bus, and there was like maybe a dozen people on there, and the driver's like, "I'm sorry, it's full. You just have to wait for the next bus."
Just a weird coincidence. I like looking on eBay at buses for sale.
Oh,
and I think they are articulating buses.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, there was one of those for sale for about $5,000.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Would you like to have your own bus?
Yeah, no kidding.
You could build a studio in there.
That's right. Yeah,
mobile studio.
Well, we used to at a TV station do that. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
So when I win the lottery,
yes,
you gave me a plan.
Well, I look around for those kind of things. I've seen a couple that could be done. Okay, like
absolutely.
All right. So anyway, the bus is full.
The first bus was full.
Yeah.
So I had to wait, and of course the buses show up every 15 to 20 minutes. I finally was able to get on a bus.
Okay.
And of course that bus wasn't going to Gilroy or going to even downtown San Jose. So
where I hate to ask, where was it going?
Well, I ended up having to get off that bus around what's it called? I like to call it Little Vietnam because it's that area around Tully where there's this wonderful Vietnamese community, and it's really cool because
was this in San Jose?
This is in San Jose, yeah, and it's not downtown. It's actually closer to the airport. It's way up in north, but it's like the Vietnamese part of the town because San Jose's got different neighborhoods. Yeah. There's a Japantown and various towns, and so
a short, fat person's town.
Yeah, well, I used to date a lovely lady who was from Vietnam, and she introduced me to a lot of Vietnamese culture stuff. And so there's this wonderful market area near Tully, and I forgot what part of San Jose. It's I think northeastern part. Anyways, and it's a wonderful. There's all kinds of really cool shops, and the Vietnamese have wonderful clothes. You know, the women wear those beautiful dresses and stuff.
Right,
so
I think we're distracting somewhere.
Yes,
but that's okay. We're going to do this. We're going to take another break.
Excellent.
So hang in there for a second. Get you out of this. I'm here. This is Community Chit Chat on KMBY over there in 19.4 and on the internet at KMBY TV. We're going to take a small break. And we will be back in just a moment as soon as I figure out how to do all this stuff. Here we go.
KMBY Monterey.
Yep, you're gonna look good in that car. So we ready to sign this deal?
Well, we really love the car.
Yeah, we love it. It's just $340 is as high as we can go a month.
You're kidding me, right? All the paperwork I had to do, I looked at your credit report. You got a lot of money, so then let's do the deal.
Tired of being badgered? For a better way and a better deal, come to the Seaside Auto Center in Seaside. Hi, Jim Boston here for the Monterey Chamber of Commerce. If you are looking for a great place to dine in Monterey, like the old Fisherman's Grotto on Fisherman's Wharf, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for a great place to play in Monterey, like Cannery Row, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for a great place to stay in Monterey, like the Portola Plaza or the Monterey Tides on the beach next door to Seaside, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for cars, car parts, body shops, car clubs, etc., check out MontereyCarChannel.com. It's quite interesting and fun. For more great information about Monterey, check out MontereyCalifornia.us. That's MontereyCalifornia.us. All of this and more brought to you by the Monterey Chamber of Commerce. Not a member? Join today. Call 394-6501. All right, we're back. This is Community Chit Chat right here on KMBY, over the air at 19.4 and on the internet at KMBYTV.com. I'm Jim Vossen, V as in Victor, O-S-S-E-N. My guest today in the studio, live in the studio, Michael Martins, and we're talking about his ordeal that he had after having a toe removed and trying to get home from Palo Alto. So, yeah, that's about it, Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Show's over. No,
That's it.
We're
Show is
getting it.
over.
So anyway, we'll talk about Vietnam some other day.
Yes,
People on
yes,
there.
yes.
Yeah. And
So, but I was in Tully, that area,
Yeah.
and of course I had to try to catch up, and of course the issue was such that many of the buses were, and to be fair, I'm sure the bus systems were going through a nightmare of trying to figure out how to deal with, social distancing, and at that point it was still a new concept.
did you have a mask with you?
Actually, no, nobody was wearing masks at that point. I didn't even see. That's how
there we go.
early.
There we go.
So
But they were doing distancing on
Yes.
the bus? Oh.
And
wow.
so it was real. So when you go on the bus, what
Yeah.
they did is, just like the police when they do the crime scene, they had tape.
Oh.
They taped off most of the
Uh-huh.
seats.
Right.
And like one person could sit the opposite up front, opposite of the bus driver, because they had to be
Yeah.
6 feet. And so the other across from them, nobody could sit there. So that's like six seats that are missing.
Yeah.
Then you had like another 6 feet back, somebody on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally a regular bus, could only hold about 6 to 8 people.
Right.
And then those accordion ones like we're talking about could only hold less than a dozen.
So let me just back up somewhere here. So roughly what time when you got into this area, the Tully area you call it?
Yes,
Or something like that, roughly if you and I know you wrote some notes down. Do you know what time it was about?
Yeah,
then?
it was the time at that point was late in the afternoon, at least 2 to 4.
Well, you were at the hospital at 2:15.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so it was like right.
You had to be closer to 3 or 4 o'clock.
It was like 4:30 or so
Oh,
by
okay.
that point.
All right.
Yes, because
All
in
right.
other words, it took about 2 hours
Okay.
just to get
so
to
now
there.
you're in that area. You got off the bus,
Exactly.
and then what did you do?
Then, then I had to get to downtown because the Valley Transit Authority, they have most of their transit stuff is connected to the what do they call it? Light rail. They have San Jose
Yeah,
has a
right,
light rail
right.
system.
They do. Yeah.
And most of it goes down the middle of the roads, like San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So they it's a modern system though. But so most of the bus terminals are actually in the middle of the road, and so their large transit, or one of their large transits.
Now, how did you? Okay, so where
Mm-hmm.
you were, this Tully area, how far away was this downtown section? Did you take a bus to there, or
It took
did you walk?
it took at least a couple of hours to get to downtown. Yeah, because it was already dark. It was already at least 7 o'clock.
Oh, boy.
It was evening by the time I was in downtown San Jose.
Uh-huh.
And everything again was because almost every other bus you had to wait 2 or 3 buses.
Was your foot hurting you?
No.
No.
Thankfully, the neuropathy and the
Yeah.
and everything, so I wasn't in
Yeah,
pain.
no,
In fact, it was completely numb, so I had no clue as to what was going on with my feet at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew I was walking more than the doctor would like me to, because just walking from bus, because you get off of one bus and then you want to get on another, you got to go a block and a half or 2 blocks to
So
pick up
let's
the
let's
other
advance.
bus.
I know,
That kind of thing.
let's advance stuff too.
Sure.
It's okay. At some point, you actually stayed at a hotel overnight.
That's
And-
right.
And where was that?
Okay, that was Gilroy.
How did you
So-
how did you get to Gilroy?
So here I am having to take multiple buses.
Yes.
The
I assume you had money on you.
Yes, the Valley. Oh, yeah, but there were, and of course, what do they call it? A perfect storm of sequences.
Yes.
Because at the same time, my phone was dying on me. My battery on my phone, because I didn't charge it, and so because I could have done an Uber or something,
Yeah.
But my phone goes out on me while I'm stuck in this a nightmare,
Yeah.
and so I have no way to call anybody. And in fact, I had to end up eventually use a payphone later. But so I'm stuck and at this point it's evening, and I'm stuck in downtown San Jose.
Yeah.
And so I had to go through a whole bunch of buses to get to the Gilroy Transit Center.
Okay.
And so the time, again, this was probably 9 o'clock, and I'm still downtown San Jose. So, but it took me from 9 p.m. till 11:30, because I remember getting off the Gilroy Transit Center, and I had to take trains, and of course the trains were doing the same thing. The what do you call it? The light rail and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're all doing the limited, social distancing.
So you're in Gilroy.
And so I finally make it to Gilroy, and
yeah.
it's about 11:30.
Right.
And of course, there's nobody, no more buses. There's no, and of course, I was expecting there to be a shuttle, another bus, an MST bus that takes you from Gilroy to Monterey Bay.
But there wasn't.
But there wasn't, no. And apparently that had been discontinued because I actually ended up having to call. Because my cell phone was dead, so there was a payphone at the Gilroy Transit Center. So I called the MST line, and it took me 3 times to get through. But then I finally got through and learned that there was no shuttle to Monterey.
All right, so now...
So now I had to walk from the Gilroy Transit Center to a hotel downtown Gilroy.
Which, how far was that?
Which is probably about 5 miles.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I walked all that distance.
Boy.
And then, of course...
You would think you got down to 200 pounds by now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so anyway... So
I spent the night at a hotel.
Yeah, and you had money on you? You had your card or something?
Well, I hadn't, luckily,
Yeah.
and so I did have my
so you stayed overnight.
credit card. I rented a hotel and spent the night. Then had to get up and walk back to the transit station. And of course I didn't bring my
and that
phone
was 5
charger.
and that 5 miles you didn't have a phone, okay?
Right.
And that was still 5 miles to walk back to the transit thing.
Yep. So I walked back to the transit center, and then and I made an error. It was when I walked back the next day, then I finally went and used the payphone to get through to MST. I tried to call MST the night before to find out about the shuttle, but I couldn't get through because, like I said, it took 3 times. Yeah. But then that next morning, I was able to get through to actually talk to a human being for MST, and that's when I found out there was no shuttle to Monterey.
Okay.
And I don't know if they just canceled that or if it was just because of the corona pandemic, reduced.
Something like that.
For whatever reason, MST was no longer providing a shuttle from Gilroy. Right. So now, because of this, that means that I knew the alternative was to go to the San Jose airport.
Oh.
So now I got to change my bus plan and then take the, what do they call it? The train, Caltrans. There was a train that I could then take to the airport, or train bus sequence that would take me to the airport. And luckily that was relatively easy.
And by this time, were you thinking of getting on a plane and then in midair jumping off?
Yes, I was ready to go back to Austin, Texas.
Just your luck, you land on your bad foot. Okay.
So I ended up having to go to the San Jose airport. And I knew, because I've flown out of the San Jose airport many times, that there's a shuttle there. It's a private shuttle, like a hotel shuttle, that'll take you to Monterey. Well, I get to the San Jose airport, and they have their own bus terminal there. So I go to the bus terminal where the San Jose shuttle, Monterey shuttle, picks you up, and I wait there for a while. And of course, the shuttle is supposed to show up every 20, 30 minutes or so. I waited there about an hour, and there was no shuttle, and so I began to be concerned about it. So I went into the where they have all the car rentals, and I started asking people about it, and then some staff person who was aware told me that there is no shuttle because of another casualty of the corona, I guess.
Here, I got a question. Had you thought of maybe renting a car?
Yes, at this point.
Okay.
In fact, bingo. That's exactly what at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm spending money at this point, so I might as well rent a nice car. At least I can drive back that way, and that's exactly what I did.
Oh, you did?
So I ended up having to rent a car and take the car and drive it all the way back to Monterey. Okay. And of course, this time it's late at night. I think it was about 11 or midnight or so.
Wow. And
so I get home and I take my shoe off, and my sock is completely red. I had white socks, but my left foot, the white sock had been soaking in blood for so long, the entire sock was just looked like a bandage, like a war wound or something.
Yeah. Can I say the word ouch right now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So anyway, so you rented a car. You got there late at night. You took your thing off.
My shoe off.
Now, was this before you got home?
This is at home. So
Okay,
I'm finally.
Okay.
And again, this was day 2, late night, about 11 p.m. on the second day, almost going into 3 days now.
Yeah.
And I get home, take my shoe off, finally, and I notice my foot is completely, my sock is completely red with blood because it had been, and my shoe was literally full of blood. So I jump back in my car, the rental car, and go to the emergency room at Chomp.
By the way, I was thinking of having spaghetti for lunch, but I've decided not to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, anyway, but you finally get home.
I get home and see my foot is bleeding, and so I run to the to Chomp, the emergency room at Chomp.
You didn't run there.
Yes, I drove in my. I still have the rental car,
right.
and my personal car is still in Marina, and I'm now back in Monterey at a house in Monterey, which luckily was close to Chomp. So I went and went home, went to the emergency room, and they kept me in the hospital most of the night, and so I didn't leave Chomp until dawn.
Now that must have cost you money or do they do anything for military?
No, because there again, it's an emergency.
Oh, okay.
So when you go there, you present your veterans, your VA card, and they it's kind of weird because they sort of treat it like a Blue Cross Blue Shield card. They'll process you. Now they know because they've dealt with this, a lot of military here. They know that they have to get clearance, but they're used to the routine. So what they do is when they admit you, they'll contact the veterans. They have, I guess, a medical network that they can,
So what did Chomp do for you?
Well, they cleaned it up. They had to. They had to
take off another toe.
Actually, they had to remove a bunch of of skin and stuff. Yeah, and they had to clean it and
Did
do it.
Did you stay overnight there?
No, like I said, they let me go in the morning. But it was like, I don't know, it was already dawn, so it's probably before 9.
Did you ever take the car back? Are you in trouble somehow?
So what I did was, luckily the rental wasn't due back because they had a deal. So it was like one day, but it wasn't due back until 6 p.m. that day. So it was about 7. So I had about 12 hours to get the car back to the Monterey airport, where they were expecting it to be returned to that airport there.
And then how'd you get out of that?
Well, I had my brother-in-law, meet with me.
Did you ever get your phone charged up?
Yes, I was able to find. It took about 2. So it literally took me 2 days to get from Palo Alto to Monterey. It was kind of like a third world adventure. You hear about people, going, in the mountains of Afghanistan or something, and take them a day to get up into India or South America to drive up into the hills or whatever. But this was Palo Alto to Monterey, and it took about a little more than 2 days.
Well, now that I think, it was a bad ordeal. Could have been worse.
Oh, yeah.
Could have taken you 3 days somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know. Especially with your phone out.
Yeah.
Now I would have thought of going to some phone store somewhere and getting a charger somehow and say, hey.
Well, and luckily I was able to. And I did consider that too, actually, because I thought I've have a few of those little, what do they call them, battery banks, and I thought about buying one of those. But a lot of times I was so stranded, and it wasn't until the second day that I spent a little time because I had breakfast in downtown Gilroy before walking all the way back to the Gilroy Transit Center on the second day. So. Quite an adventure.
Yeah, quite an adventure, I'll tell you. All right. Well, we're just about time to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you. And how's your foot now? Better?
Yes, it's doing well. So, and
you don't have bloody socks right now?
Nope. I see the doctor on a weekly basis, and the last check was good.
If I ever ask you to see your foot, Remind me that I don't want to see your foot, okay?
Right. Exactly. I can guarantee
Yeah.
I'm not going to be showing it to you.
One little quick story. I have an ex-brother-in-law who many, many, many years ago was water skiing. And he lost the rope and somehow it grabbed one of his toes and pulled a toe off.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That can do that.
Yeah.
I used to water ski, and it's amazing how fast you're
All
going.
right, I didn't mean to get you started on that. I'm trying to tell you.
You got another hour?
No, I don't. In fact, we're good. All right, Michael. Hey, thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Jim.
today.
Been
good.
fun.
All right. Oh, boy. I wonder what his real problem is. Anyway, no. Anyway, Michael Martins has been a guest today of Community Chit Chat right here on KMBY over the air at 19.4 and on the internet at kmbytv.com. This will be soon loaded up to our YouTube page, and you can find that at kmbytv.com. So thank you very much for joining us today. Do me a favor, go out there and be careful of everything that you got going on from